'cause now my vision is clear. Every moment has been leading us here. So I raise my voice to the sky, 'cause inside I know that this is our time. Oh, let this moment wash over me. Now my dream is our reality. Our reality. Our reality. Thank you.
Often buy, they're just $2, and if it's a wonderful message, I often purchase those myself. I probably won't buy my own, but anyway. All right. I always feel so grateful every single week when I come here, and today is no exception. I feel honored and blessed to be able to be the speaker today. But more importantly, I'm honored and blessed to be in your presence and to be on stage with these amazing people that help bring this all together. Many of you may not know this. Well, she kind of hinted. Joanne, this was her first time to ever do that. She was like, you can't mess up. And so we appreciate that. So, you know, we aren't Hollywood. We don't rehearse. We rehearse a little, but I mean, we don't cut things and they don't get to retake and retake. This is live, and we're real people, and we have real you know that sometimes I only open my mouth to switch feet. So I know that we're on the same page. All right, so I'm going to start today with a little story about myself, because I know my story is best. About 20 years ago, I had been married for 20 years, and I found myself single. Now, when my 20 years of marriage, I was a stay-at-home mom almost exclusively. It was a lot of my identity. I loved it. And here I was, and I was kind of blindsided by it, and I had to get a job. I began working, and I have a degree in elementary education, and I was really blessed miraculously at that time. My divorce became final in December, and late in the month of December, I visited with a friend, and she had gotten engaged. She was going to be leaving the state, and she taught school, and I said, I want your job. And I got her job. It was either January or February, in the middle of a school year, without credentials. I had a degree, but I did not have Texas credentials. I got a contract teaching school in Texas, and it was a wonderful peace of mind. And I began teaching this wonderful little class of second graders. And I loved the children. Loved them. They're just so wonderful. About the time the school year was winding down towards spring, I figured out I hated teaching school. And this was a dilemma. I was grateful I had this, and I did do it another year, but I was like, I can't keep doing this. And so, and I'm looking at, man, I might be doing this for a really long time. And as I just shared that bit with you, it is possible that I didn't figure it out till the next spring, but I think it was that first spring. Anyway, I didn't keep a journal that I can reread. The story stays the same. As I figured this out, I would come home from school, and I was always into personal development, and I'd been picking up some different books, and I picked up this was kind of the time when all the companies and industries out there were getting vision statements. Remember that? It was all the rage. And I read this one book that was about purpose, and it really spoke to my soul. And so I began pondering. I knew I wasn't going to be happy if I did this forever, but I wanted to know what my purpose was. And so every day, literally every day after school, I would come out, get a book, read for a little bit, had my journal there, and I just asked, what's my purpose? What is my purpose? And I sat with it. And I don't know how many days it was, but at this amazing moment, it came to me. And I wrote down, my purpose is to teach. And I paused for a second, and then I kept going because I'm like, and it continued. My purpose is to teach, to love and nurture every person I come in contact with, and to enthusiastically spread light and truth. And I had that exact same purpose statement till about 4 years ago, and it only changed ever so slightly. And as I was reevaluating and contemplating again, it changed just a little bit. Today, my purpose statement, it's posted at my home to remind me, is my purpose is to teach, to love and nurture every person I come in contact with, and to enthusiastically share my light. So I tell you that story for a reason. Well, I've regularly been able to say that I know my purpose, and I have to some degree lived on purpose. There's never been a time when I felt more on purpose than I do right now. And it is fabulous, and the better it gets, the better it gets. So it's really been an amazing, amazing journey. Now, the title of my talk today is The Art and Science of Visioning. And it's the same book, this book by Michael Beckwith. It's called Life Visioning. And Myrna and Robert and I, this is the third week that you've had someone speak on this exact book. We highly recommend it to you. That vision for my life was foundational to every other vision. Knowing my purpose, it's foundational for me for every other vision that I want to receive from my life. For every other bit of inspiration that I get, I would like it to be in harmony with that vision, with that purpose. And that came up in this book over and over. Know your purpose, know your purpose. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but I'm also going to talk about the art of visioning. On the front end, however, I want to talk about the science of visioning. So the laws of nature are consistent. They're 100% consistent. They play no favorites. Doesn't matter who you are. If you trip, gravity's going to pull you down. Queen of England, street person. No favorites. Meanest Hitler, Jesus. You trip, you're falling. It's the way it is, okay? You don't get around it. That is how all the laws work. When we do the cause, we get the effect. Every time. That's the science of visioning. Michael Beckwith gives us a recipe. I followed the recipe when I was doing that back then, but I was unconscious of it. But the thing is, I still did it. So if you put the right ingredients into the cake, into the batter, you will get a cake, even if you mix them up by accident, okay? I mixed them up by accident. Jesus said it a little bit different than the way Michael Beckwith does. He said, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it will be opened unto you. So let's go back. Here I had a dilemma and I had a question. And I was sitting down every day and just being. I didn't know I was meditating. I didn't call it meditating. I was meditating. Y'all, sometimes we get hung up on this meditation business. Am I doing it right? Just keep doing it. Read a book on it. Take some lessons if you want. Come to the meditations that are here every morning, every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. You'll begin getting how that feels to you. So I was meditating. I presented my question. I asked. Then I sought. Okay? And that was that being with it. And just, here's the key here. You don't seek for the answer out there because it isn't out there. It's in here. So I sought to open my mind and to open my heart. And I knocked at the door of that heart. And then it was opened onto me. And that's how it always happens. But I was what I call, at that time, an unconscious competent. Didn't know what I was doing, but I was competent at it, at least at that day. All right. So do you know your purpose? And I'm going to talk a little bit, kind of a lot. It's going to be in the background of everything today. It's possible that you can state your purpose in a sentence, a statement like I have. I don't think that's mandatory, by the way. So just because that came, and just because my little vision opened up in an actual words to me, that may not be how it is for you either. It doesn't mean yours isn't valid. There's not just one way. But it's possible that you can state your purpose. And it's also possible that your purpose will slightly change or drastically change. And that it doesn't mean you're not on purpose, okay? It's possible that you're living your purpose right now. And the way you know that is you've never really given it a lot of thought, but there's this knowingness about this is what I'm doing. It's just right. I'm not going to ask Jarrett if he's got a purpose statement written down, but I'm pretty darn sure he was sharing it, okay? Because when it feels that good, you're on purpose, okay? And it's possible that you have no idea what your purpose is, and you've spent most of your life just trying to survive and safely get to your grave. Well, a lot of people do it. So you might have that little unsettled feeling when I talk about purpose and uneasiness. And if you'd really like to know with clarity what your purpose is, I highly encourage you to use the visioning process. By the way, when you go asking and seeking for your purpose, and this is really, really important for me to share with you, underlying every single person walking the earth's purpose is joy. Okay? So if you feel like, oh, my purpose is to do thus and so, and you hate it, you ain't on purpose. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that there won't be challenges along the way and things you get to learn, but in general, it's going to feel so good. It's going to be this unfoldment. The other thing that I want to remind you on that is, besides it being a joyful, it's impossible for you to be off your path. It is impossible for you to be off your path. You can have less joy or more joy. More joy is the more exacting you are on your path. So when we're on that path, when we're living our purpose, I can liken it to, and I love the way science has come along such a long way, and photography and stuff, because we can watch a flower open up in a few seconds, because they'll take those pictures and then slice it all together. And I'm like, thank you for you living your purpose, because I get to enjoy that. But a flower doesn't struggle, does it? It just unfolds beautifully. And if I take that bud and I try to force it, doesn't work. So it will always, there's no race. You know, there is no race. We're not in a competition here. We're all going to evolve according to our own unique unfoldment, and I don't have to compare my unfoldment to anyone else's. However, that evolution, that growth can be accelerated, but it cannot be forced. Just like we can accelerate the growth of plants by fertilizing that. Fertilizing, in this case, would be the visioning process and meditation, okay? Those are things that will accelerate that unfoldment. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but of all the living things, all of the creations that have ever been, from animate to inanimate, including the animals, only, as far as we know, only humans have capacities beyond the five senses. To a degree or another, almost every animal can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. And I'm grateful, deeply grateful for those gifts of our senses. But only humans that we know of have been so loved and so trusted by Source We alone have been given this power to be co-creators with our source in our individual life. I hope you feel really special about that, and I hope you don't safely go to your grave. Co-create. Use these abilities. I'm going to share for 2 of those. We have a lot of different faculties. I call them intellectual or mental faculties. I know of 6 for sure. I'm going to share 2 of them briefly with you today. One is imagination. The other is intuition. Now, I'm going to also real quickly explain visualization as being entirely different than what I'm talking about, which is visioning, okay? Visualization uses the capacity of imagination. That's one of those gifts that we have that animals, we don't. We project on them and pretend they do, but we don't know if they can imagine, okay? But we know we can, okay? The definition of imagination is the action or process of forming a mental image or concept that's not actually present to the senses. And we did it. Most of us left our imagination in the sandbox, but I highly recommend you pick it back up again and start playing with it because it's a fabulous gift, okay? And you use that when you make your vision board. You project and you imagine what it is you want and you put it on that vision board, okay? That is visualization. That's projecting out, okay? And I want you to know that because the 2 words are so close and I do not want them getting confused. So visualization uses imagination, which is kind of up here and pushed out, okay? Visioning, on the other hand, or receiving a vision, uses the faculty of intuition. Now, we all have the gift of intuition, and we can cultivate and strengthen this. It's all these gifts that we have are like mental muscles, and the more we use them, the stronger they get, okay? Intuition is more than a hunch or an instinct or a hint. It's more sure. It's an inner knowingness. In fact, the definition in the dictionary was so spot on, I loved it. Definition was the direct perception of truth, independent of the reasoning process. That's your gift of intuition. When I received that message of my purpose, it was bam, clear. It was a knowingness. It came from here. It came from within, very deep within me. And that's how I knew. It's powerful stuff when we use intuition. And hopefully you've all experienced it several times in your life. I want you to be doing it lots. Now, I'm going to spend the next couple minutes contrasting when we're in the flow, when we are being in that moment. Oh, Jarrett, I love that song. Everything brings us to here. This moment, it's the only one we've got. Every song, every word spoken today so far has just been so harmoniously beautiful. I just love it. And for those of you that are new here or that have been coming forever, you know, we all kind of volunteer. Things don't happen just magically. I don't know who gets all those candles going. I was looking at it today and I thought, that's a lot of time. But someone does it. So always feel free to jump in. So that was a PS. All right. So how you know, I know this is what I do. So some of the ways you're going to know when you're really in that flow, when you're in your unfoldment, I'm going to do a little contrast. First, I'm going to talk about how you know you're not in your unfoldment, that it's probably your ego, and then how you know you are. Not, it's going to feel a little forced. You might feel a little anxious, worried, or even doubtful. As opposed to when you're in your unfoldment, it's kind of like the Eagles song. It's a peaceful, easy feeling. All right? You might have a sense of second guessing, of doubting, real efforty, uphill feel, okay? And on the other hand, when you're in your unfoldment, you'll have a sense of trust. You're in the flow. If you ever tube down a river, you don't work hard, you just sit there. Just let the current take you where it goes. When you're not, you might feel a little urgent or hurried. On the other hand, when you're in your unfoldment, it might have high velocity and speed. You may find yourself talking the talk over here, A lot of talk. Oh, I'm doing this. Talk, talk, talkity talk. Over here, you're walking the walk. There's a lot of trying, a lot of energy spent when you're on this part. This is how you know you're a little off base with being in harmony with your oneness and your source. Over here, it'll energize you, even when you're doing the work, okay? Using sport team terms, which you might resist that a little bit, but heck, I love college football. So, okay, over on this side, you might feel a little defensive, protecting the walls you've built around yourself from getting hurt. Over here, you'll be on the offensive, but it's not an attack, it's a forward motion. When obstacles appear, you may detach, saying, it's not fair, I'm not even going to play anymore. You'll withdraw. I didn't care anyway. Over here, when obstacles appear, you can stay non-attached and simply ask, what's the next step? How do I get over, through, around, under this obstacle? And the way will unfold for you. Here you may feel like you're denying yourself, suffering, sacrificing. This is fear-based thinking. I better do this. I should do this. That is how that feels. Can you see the difference on this side when you're experiencing self-love and self-care and an interconnectedness with Source? And I want to do this. It's my privilege to do this. Big difference. Big difference when we pay attention to it. On this side, it's willful. I'm going to do it. I'm going to barrel through this. On this, there's a sense of willingness. The motivation on this side might be a little bit of, what's in it for me? I'll show them now. I'm going to prove to the world. Here we go. Ego going crazy. Over here, the motivation is intrinsic joy. It feels great to live on purpose because it feels great to live on purpose. It is its own reward. Over here, you have to keep pushing yourself, oftentimes beating yourself up. Over here, you may feel almost a magnetic pull to do the doings. On this side, you're hanging on to attachment. You're projecting, this is how it's going to look. This is how it's going to be. You're hanging on to how this outcome is going to be. Over on this side, you're truly non-attached. Non-attachment is playing full out with all systems go, but no attachment to the outcome. So, got that? Pretty big differences between the two. If you pay attention to those, you will know. Sometimes I catch believe me, I vacillate between those all the time. I have an ego is maybe bigger than yours. See? All right, so two of you got that, thank you. All right, I want to summarize real quickly as we end today. Meditation, practice it. It is a gift to you. I am learning the more I do it, I don't have time not to meditate. It is the doorway to at oneness with Divine Source. With each breath we take, and we generally focus on our breath. When I meditate, I have a few different mantras I'll use. One of them is I am that I am. I'll take in my breath with I am and breathe out with that I am. There's other ones I use as well. There's no right or wrong on that. But with each breath, we give our body temple a cue to relax, to let go of the stress, to be present, to open our hearts and our minds, and to utilize and bring up that great gift of intuition. Ask your question. After you've spent some time in meditation and you feel that oneness and you have that sense of love, ask your question. Remember, what we should do or be is pumped into us from outside sources. And what we are meant to be is already living at the center of us. Seek. We're seeking to discover through the visioning process. Seek for the answer from within. This is not a forced seeking. It's a quiet place. Return to it frequently. And ultimately, as we knock at that doorway to the infinite knowing, the revelation of the vision that is seeking to emerge through you. There is a vision for your life that wants to come alive in you, and you are the only person that can live that. Leave it all on the table. When I die, I want to leave it all here. I gave it everything. I'm ready to croak. But I don't want to leave my gift in me. And the ego is fear-based. Your divine highest self is not. You are capable. It wouldn't be trying to emerge through you if you weren't up to it. You already have within you what you need. And anything else you need to fulfill that vision will be provided. Continue to knock. It will be opened onto you. And you'll know it. You will know it. It'll come in a understanding, a feeling, a tone, an image, an impression, a sound, a meaningful symbol, some sort of an insight. You will know it. It might not be mine. It'll be yours. A couple of last notes. Vision is not caught by force. It comes through surrender. And when it comes, say yes. I literally open my arms often. Amy Cuddy, TED Talk, body language, highly recommend it. She talks about this kind of open body. Say yes to it. I literally open my arms and say, yes, I am open to receive. It helps me physically, mentally, and spiritually receive those messages. And affirm it. That is an affirmation of your willingness to move forward, living your vision. Where there is willfulness, there's a wall. But where there is willingness, there's a way. And finally, express gratitude for that high vision for your life that continues. It's beautiful, unceasingly, I don't know how to wear that, ceaseless unfolding, okay? It's going to continue to unfold, and you didn't miss the mark. It doesn't, I'm turning 60 next month. I'm just now feeling like I'm more on purpose than I've ever been. Did I waste 60 years? Heck no. Every moment brought me to here, just like for you. The science is when we keep the laws, we get the effect. 100% of the time, it's going to happen for you. And today, as I close, I just want to express my gratitude to be able to share something, hopefully of some value to some of you, when I know that you are each powerful, powerful co-creators. It is my honor. Namaste.
Allowing that energy, that flow, to be present. Yeah, right there. It's that presence that we have felt and been instructed and encouraged and engaged, knowing that this one, this presence, is in and through you. And this energy that just fills up within your spirit is now being expressed through your light or your love or your compassion. And it is exciting because wherever you are, whatever you're doing, is transforming that space, that energy. And it is from the connectedness of you and spirit. And it is on purpose. Because you are the willing participant in accepting that. Raising your hands, being willing and open and saying yes. So simple. And it is truth. And knowing right here and now that every thought, every expression, and every heartfelt pulse of Spirit, of God, of all of this is you. Allow your heart to beat. Allow that flow. For you are the most unique, loving, and compassionate individual that God has chosen to express itself right now. No one else can do what you are doing on purpose. Yes, breathe that in. Know that deep within who you are, in everything that is, with the flow of air, with the beat of your heart, it is. It has always been. Since the beginning of you. And allow that perfect vision, that perfect purpose, whatever it may be or however it may show up. It is you. It is you who the world needs in every aspect of you. And so as I ground myself in this truth and express it to you, I know that you are grounded in this truth. That you are it, the very existence of the universe, the very center of it. A place in which everything grows from, not to, but from. It is your life force that you share and that you give. And of course, we allow God to be God in this moment and in every moment forth. We celebrate that exciting truth. And we let it be. And we let it grow. And we simply say, and so it is.